And a World Trade Organization monitoring report on G20 trade has found that trade restrictive measures are increasingly being introduced. The matter came up at the first meeting of the bloc under South Africa's presidency. Business reporter Ntokozo Khumalo discussed this with the WTO's Bright Okogu, who explains that trade facilitating measures are also increasingly inward-looking.
The World Trade Organization showing some concern around rising trade restrictiveness within G20 economies, and I am with Bright Okogu to talk us through that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Trade generally is a promoter of prosperity, growth, GDP growth, growth in economies, and job creation. All of these things are fostered and indeed enhanced when you have free trade. So what has happened over the years is that from time to time, different countries, for different reasons, impose some sort of trade restrictions. Some of it is restrictions on exports of your goods, some particular products or raw materials, because they are strategic as far as you are concerned. Others are for imports. You restrict imports in some way, using either direct import or import restriction, or you include things like tariffs that are making it difficult, more expensive, if you like, for people to import. And there's also technical barriers to trade that sometimes you can specify particular types of requirements for a product to come into your country.
South Africa being then president of G20 in 2025, what sort of message or what sort of conversations should then be had when it comes to trade, particularly for emerging markets such as South Africa?
The opportunity of being the G20 presidency actually gives you a whole lot of leverage. You can help to shape trade policy as one of the examples. You can help to talk to the different members to see how they can converge when it comes to big issues of trade. So to that extent, South Africa is in a very, very good and strong position to influence the outcome. Let me add one thing. The WTO's Ministerial Conference, number 14, MC14, is going to take place in Africa, in Cameroon, in early 2026. So you have a great opportunity to shape the outcomes of that particular ministerial. And there are 3 or 4 things that are really top. One of them is agriculture. And South Africa, obviously, this is an important file for South Africa. And for the continent as a whole, it is equally an important element if you're going to be able to do that. The second, we have agreements on fisheries that was reached. Fish 1, we are trying to finish ratifying now. We have Fish 2, which is being negotiated, and South Africa is, is a critical player in this regard. So it can actually help to bridge the gaps between the different parties in terms of negotiations.
Well, thank you so much for those insights. Thank you for talking to us. Of course, Bright Okogu is a Shepherd with the World Trade Organizations, highlighting there that discussions are, of course, about turning those discussions and plans into reality for the group of economies and what that means for South Africa's presidency in 2025. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, from Ntokozo Khumalo in Johannesburg.